Hi students, in this 15-minute video I explain the approach we take to this course and take you through the important parts of the syllabus. This is the written version of the syllabus, but the online version is available on the syllabus tab on the home page of our Canvas website. Starting at the top, this is English 546 if you are a master's student or 646 if you're a PhD. As you know, we've had problems getting the 546 on board. They actually deleted it thinking it was an old course, and we had to put it back up in the CAF system. But it doesn't really matter if you're a master's student in 646. Either way, it will count as a credit. There's my contact information. That's my email. That's usually the best way to communicate with me. Or you can call me at my office, or if it's an emergency or need to talk to me when I'm away, that's my cell phone number. My office is in the main English office building, and these are basic office hours, but I can meet with you most any time. I did not incorporate into this online course synchronous discussions using, for example, Adobe Connect. As I mentioned in my navigation video, all of the learning will take place on our online discussion board. Let's move on to the description. This course is meant to prepare English instructors to work with English language writers, English language learner writers. And the acronyms are still a little bit sticky in places. It used to be called ESL writing. When I work in Mexico and Latin America, it's known as ESL writing. But there are many contexts in which this English is not the second language. It could be the third, or it could be a bilingual language for someone else. So the ELL is really the broadest term, and this simply means that English is not the primary dominant first language, and that distinguishes it from non-native speakers of English generally. The first part of this course, we immerse ourselves into the field of second language acquisition, teaching, learning, and research. It's a really broad field that includes learning all kinds of second languages, or such as Spanish, English, Japanese, and it has a long history with a lot of great research. We're going to introduce you to the basics of that field with our edited collection by Eli Hinkle, and I'm just going to ground you in the basics of second language acquisition. After that, we move into ELL writing, or L2 writing, or ESL writing, looking at two books. And let me move quickly to these books so you'll understand what I'm talking about. This Eli Hinkle book will ground us in second language teaching and learning, and then we spend a lot of time in this excellent book on teaching L2 composition, Ferris and Hedgecock. This book is very dense in the sense it takes a whole bunch of work, compiles that work into a pedagogical approach to the teaching of L2 composition, and that will be our main touchstone for grounding you all in ELL writing. After that book, we move into a writing across the curriculum book, because one of the issues we have with ELL writers is once they finish our first year composition, English 111M at New Mexico State, they are mainstreamed into the other courses. And so this book looks at second language writers in their writing outside the writing that takes place in the English department. And this is a great book. It's also free, open access, so you can pick that book up and you can download it actually. These two books are at the bookstore, but that gives you the basic structure of the course. After we look at the L2 language acquisition, we move to L2 teaching, L2 writing. We're going to look very briefly at what happens on the border, including Generation 1.5, and Generation 1.5 means children who are caught between two languages, cultures, writing systems. In our case, it mostly involves students whose parents were born and lived in Mexico, but they were born in the United States or came here very early on in their life. And they learn Spanish at home, English at school, and they're caught between the two languages and cultures. We'll also look at bilingualism and Spanish-dominant writers along the U.S.-Mexico border. The purpose of this course is to prepare you. Most of you are experienced first language or L1 writing instructors or instructors of native speakers of writers. And we're going to add to your knowledge and competency the ELL component. And so this course will assume that you have experience teaching writing and that you want to strengthen, learn a lot more about how teaching writing to English language learners is similar to, as well as different to, teaching writing to native English speakers. I won't go through this list of questions, and I'm going to ask you to contemplate this list really carefully because these are the questions that we will explore throughout this semester. Going to the objectives, I want you to understand the critical issues, scholarship, and methods of inquiry in the field of English language writing, and this is really an introduction. When I finished my PhD, actually 20 years ago, I had an ESL minor, and I actually had 6 courses in ESL. And writing was one of the courses, but I had research, I had competencies, I had general L2 acquisition. So it's hard to pull together the whole field and bring it to bear in one class on ELL writing, but that's one of the major goals. The other goal is to be able to develop curriculum, courses, programs, assignments for ELL writing classes. And one of the assignments is that very thing, to develop curriculum. I hope you will be able to what I call denaturalize U.S. L1 writing curriculum. That is, understand how U.S. writing instructors is rooted in specific U.S. cultural values. For example, we tend to teach in our first year composition course overt thesis statements with a documented argument. That very overt thesis statement can feel very aggressive for other cultures, and so I explore why the very overt thesis is part of the U.S. cultural and rhetorical systems. Next, I hope this course will make you capable of working effectively and ethically with English language writers. And finally, I hope you'll be able to teach ELL writing courses at NMSU and elsewhere. I could have added, I hope at a larger, broader level, you will be able to look at the curriculum at your university and be able to find the best way, the best course or the best structure, the best policies for your English language learners. At NMSU and Doña Ana Community College, we actually have a very different population of English language learners. Doña Ana Community College has a lot more Spanish dominant in Generation 1-5. NMSU has a lot more students from other countries other than Mexico. In other words, we have lots of students from Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Japan, China. Their needs and strengths are different than a lot of the students who are what I love to call my border students, who are Spanish English with various competencies. We've talked about the materials. I'm going to talk about each one of these assignments on a separate video. But basically, this is our approach. For each of the 15 weeks, each student will write a 1,000-word comparison of the weekly readers, grounding this comparison in the 15 units of analysis. And I explain those units of analysis in another video, and they're on the home page as well as the syllabus of the home page, the syllabus menu. You will post this 1,000-word comparative analysis by Wednesday of each week, and that's except for the first week. And that each of those 15 words analysis is worth 20 points. In addition, each week you will post 2 500-word responses to your peers' comparative analysis or their responses, and these responses are due by Saturday 11:59, basically Saturday midnight of that week, and this is worth 30% of your grade, and it's worth 10 points each. And so each week you will have 40 points possible for these discussion assignments. And as I explained in the navigation part of the course, the navigation video, you will for each week we have one discussion board. Excuse me. And you will upload your comparative analysis on that discussion board as well as your responses, and we have one discussion board for each week. Next in the assignments, I want you to create an ELL competency in an existing L1 writing class. This is where I want you to reframe an assignment or an entire class or a specific English language learner competency for a variety of classes, such as literature courses or composition courses or technical writing courses. We have seen a great increase of international students in our English 203, 211, and 218. So one example of an assignment that you could do is how to create ELL competency in an existing technical writing class. That's worth 20% of your final grade. The other one is a written report and a webinar on one area of English language writing. You will pick a specific topic, and I have a long laundry list of topics right here. And you will write a report, really like an annotated bib, sharing with other students how the importance of this topic for the English language learning curriculum. You will then make a webinar, and the webinar is basically what I'm doing right now using Screencast-O-Matic, or you can and you create this webinar and you take students through this area, explaining to the students how this area is relevant. And in this way, we're going to cover, the students will be introduced to a wide array of issues in English language ELL writing. So that's worth 20% of your final grade. This is due the last part of class. This ELL competency is due the first, basically, actually that's wrong. It should be April 2nd. All right, grading, I will use the plus-minus system. Ethics and plagiarism, do your own work or we have problems. I hope you can use this work, or you can use work in other classes to strengthen your work here. I don't mind students using this work in their dissertations. I'm hoping they will do that. Moving on, this is the obligatory insertion of disability and discrimination. There's a little bit about me here. I introduce myself more fully on the introduction discussions. You can look there. This is an old schedule. The updated version is on our homepage. And here, I'll have a separate video for this, but I have listed 15 units of analysis. And these units, if you've had me for modern rhetorical theory, force you to focus on a specific rhetoric and composition issue for English language learners. And the goal is to help you transition your L1 writing competencies to the English language learner context. And maybe I'm cheating because there's more than 15, but I first start with PRIOS, which is purpose, reader, information, organization, and style. And then I go through really classical rhetorical and composition theories such as exigency, topoi. There are 15 of them. Near the end, this is kind of cutting edge research at the end. Anyway, as I see I'm running out of time, I hope this course introduction makes sense to you. Thank you.